troops in 2 different locations in the northern Gaza Strip, potentially violating the framework of the current ceasefire.
Yeah, today's breaking news. Israel is blaming Hamas for violating ceasefire. But that's not the issue. Hamas is blaming Israel for violating ceasefire. So, but before we go into the full package, I would love you to touch the like button. Subscribe, follow me, share this message. I know it won't take you much to share. It won't cost you any money. Share this message. So let's go into the details if you have shared the message. Now, let's go there.
Were detonated near Israeli troops in 2 different locations in the northern Gaza Strip, potentially violating the framework of the current ceasefire. Trey Yinks is live in Tel Aviv with the big breaking development for us. Trey, what does this mean?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Breaking news right now. The Israelis say the ceasefire was violated by Hamas. They are reporting 3 separate explosions at 2 different locations in northern Gaza that injured a number of Israeli soldiers. They describe the injuries as light at this point, and they go on to say at one of the locations, Hamas militants opened fire on their forces and they responded with live ammunition. Now, Hamas releasing a statement of their own blaming the Israelis for violating the agreement. The spokesperson for Hamas, Abu Obaida, saying there was field friction, but adding that Hamas is committed to the truth. So a lot of questions right now about what comes next. Israeli media reporting that fighter jets were scrambled to support those infantry troops that are operating on the ground. But for the first time in 5 days, reports inside Gaza, in the northern part of the Strip, of a violation to this agreement. And again, the Israelis say 3 separate explosions took place, likely IEDs detonated by Hamas, injuring Israeli forces. They responded with live ammunition against Hamas militants in northern Gaza. Guys?
Yeah, that is not part of the plan, and I think the biggest fear for people at home here is wondering, does that mean that we won't have these 10 hostages released today?
It's certainly up in the air, and remember, we are in added time right now. The initial ceasefire was supposed to end yesterday after day 4. After intense negotiations and conversations with the Qataris and the Egyptians, they were able to cut this deal to extend it by 48 hours in exchange for getting 10 hostages a day released. We don't know at this point where things stand, if this will affect the release of the hostages tonight, but it certainly highlights just how delicate this agreement is. And in these incidents, you have such a fog of war and a back and forth that at this moment, you have the Israelis blaming Hamas for violating the agreement, and you have Hamas blaming the Israelis. But what we do know, according to Israeli officials, that in a statement to Fox News just released, multiple soldiers lightly injured in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. They associate those injuries with explosions likely caused by IEDs near where they were operating. But the Israelis in this statement maintain their forces were within the bounds of this agreement. They were not operating on some sort of mission outside of that initial framework that was agreed upon. And again, at one of those locations, the Israelis say they were fired upon and they returned fire with live ammunition. Guys?
Yeah, that's what happens when they fight first. You've got to fight back. All right, thank you so much, Trey. We'll continue.